Joining us now is Dr. Amesh Adalja, Senior Scholar at Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security. Thank you very much, Doctor, for coming on the program. We appreciate it. So if you could talk to us about the study, how big a deal it is, how significant a study it is, let's start there.
This is a very significant study because what it is comprehensive, really looking for any signal with sudden cardiac death in all of these individuals who have been vaccinated throughout this vaccination campaign. And when you don't see a signal in a study so big, it really is reassuring because these types of studies will often pick up signals that are just noise, and they didn't even see noise here. So I think this is something that should reassure people, and it also should sort of debunk what the anti-vaccine movement has been trying to promulgate from the very beginning, that this is some vaccine that carries some untoward risk, that it's responsible for all of these unexplained deaths that they sort of gin up. All of that should hopefully fall away, but unfortunately, the anti-vaccine movement is not really receptive to facts and rationality when it comes to this.
Are there going to be any holes they're going to be able to poke in this study? I mean, when you dig deep on this study, are there going to be holes they're going to say, well, you know, they're not focusing on this or that?
They're always going to try and make, no study is going to be good enough for people who aren't actually open to study. So I think it's kind of a danger when you're trying to debunk the anti-vaccine movement using the scientific method and logic, because they themselves don't subscribe to the scientific method or logic. You can't, as one of my mentors once told me, you can't reason people out of something that they weren't reasoned into. And what we find is that they're using kind of a whole different way of looking at vaccines than the actual way that's reflective of reality and science. And maybe this will sway a lot of the general public, but I don't think RFK Jr. is going to change his mind about vaccines based on this, because he's had lots of studies like this.
The New York Times wrote this week about thousands of Americans who believe they've been injured or harmed by the vaccines but haven't been taken seriously. One Yale immunologist telling the Times that people experience side effects have been, quote, just completely ignored and dismissed and gaslighted. And the former head of the FDA, Dr. Janet Woodcock, told the Times she regrets not taking people more seriously. They also pointed to the misinformation out there. You know, what do you make of that big picture concern?
It is true that there are going to be a small segment of any vaccinated population that has side effects. And it's important that we study those side effects, that we understand them, that we allow people to make risk-benefit calculations. But I think what's happened, paradoxically, is so many people are worried about emboldening the anti-vaccine movement, rightly so, that everything else kind of gets lumped into there. So people who have legitimate side effects from the vaccine often might not really come to attention the way that they should, because nobody wants to give the anti-vaccine movement any fodder. And these are the real victims of this, is that there are some people that we want to study, people who have ringing of their ears, for example, or people who had myocarditis. But the anti-vaccine movement seizes upon that to discredit the entire vaccine and basically evade the millions of lives that have been saved by the vaccines. And that's the problem that we're in with the way, you know, the anti-vaccine movement has grown in popularity and strength.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.